the gentleman, the sage, and the Buddha. Understanding Zhou Dunyi's lotus metaphor. The way is to man as rivers and lakes are to fish. The way is to man as the sky is to birds. The Tao is the One. It is the source of the 10,000 things. The Tao produces all things, nourishes them, and brings them to their full growth. It produces them and does not claim them as its own. It does all, and yet does not boast of it. It presides over all, and yet does not control them. If one does not detach oneself from all things, one cannot have the tranquility of mind and the strength of character which are essential to the realization of the Tao. In the beginning, there was nothing but the great ultimate Taiji. This produced the two principles, yin and yang. The two principles produced the four symbols, Si Shang, and the four symbols produced the 8 trigrams, Ba Gua. The sage embraces simplicity, shuns excess, and values stillness. Heaven, earth, and I are born of the same root. All things and I are one. The Tao gives birth to the One. The One gives birth to the Two. The Two gives birth to the Three. And the Three gives birth to all things. The wise person looks into space, and does not regard the small as too little, nor the great as too much, for they know that there is no limit to dimensions. The Tao is like a well, used but never used up. It is like the eternal void, filled with infinite possibilities. On the Love of the Lotus, by Zhou Dunyi. Many flowers of grasses and trees in the water and on the land are worthy of admiration. Dao Yuan Ming of Jin dynasty only loved the chrysanthemum. Since Tang dynasty, all people have deeply loved the peonies. But I only love the lotus, which came out of mud yet is not contaminated. Washed by ripples yet is not voluptuous. Its straight stem is hollow inside. It does not grow into branches or vines. Its clean fragrance diffuses a far distance. It stands there perfectly upright and clean. It shall only be admired from afar instead of being played in people's hands. I think the chrysanthemum is the recluse of the flowers. Peony is the nobility of great wealth. Lotus is the gentleman of the flowers. Alas, the love of chrysanthemum is seldom seen after Dao Yuan Ming. Who else share the same love of lotus that I have? The love of peonies is of course widespread everywhere. What is the meaning behind the lotus in Zhou Dunyi's poem? There are many lovely flowers on land and water. Dao Yuanming of the Jin dynasty loved chrysanthemums alone. Since the Tang dynasty, the world loved peonies. I love the lotus, which grows out of mud and does not stain. It is washed in fresh water and is not contaminated. The petals are symmetrically arranged, and the fragrance is pure and refreshing. The leaves are large and broad, and the stem is long and straight. The lotus is like a gentleman, who stands tall and upright in the world, and is not stained by the dust of the world. The lotus is like a sage, who is pure and unsullied, and is not contaminated by the world. The lotus is like a Buddha, who is free from all attachments, and is not bound by the world. The lotus is like a person of high moral character, who is honest and upright, and is not swayed by the world. The lotus is like a person of great ambition, who is determined and persevering, and is not discouraged by the world. The lotus is like a person of great wisdom, who is insightful and discerning, and is not confused by the world. The lotus is like a person of great virtue, who is kind and compassionate, and is not selfish or greedy. The lotus is like a person of great accomplishment, who is successful and respected, and is not arrogant or conceited. The lotus is like a person of great faith, who is devoted and sincere, and is not doubtful or skeptical. The lotus is like a person of great enlightenment, who is awakened and liberated, and is not deluded or ignorant. The lotus is like a person of great love, who is caring and nurturing, and is not indifferent or callous. The lotus is like a person of great joy, who is happy and contented, and is not sad or depressed. The lotus is like a person of great peace, who is calm and serene, and is not agitated or disturbed. The lotus is like a person of great beauty, who is attractive and charming, and is not ugly or repulsive. The lotus is like a person of great grace, who is elegant and refined, and is not crude or vulgar. The lotus is like a person of great power, who is strong and mighty, and is not weak or feeble. The lotus is like a person of great wisdom, who is insightful and discerning, and is not confused or ignorant. The lotus is like a person of great compassion, who is kind and caring, and is not cruel or heartless. The lotus is like a person of great virtue, who is honest and upright, and is not deceitful or corrupt. The lotus is like a person of great faith, who is devoted and sincere, and is not doubtful or skeptical.